I mean, our mission statement with this game has been really to focus on, that finish the fight moment. So that bleeds into every part of gameplay, every single game mode, making sure that finishing the fight is awesome. But yeah, like you said, that delivering a mode for every fight fan is another thing we wanted to achieve with this game. So there's actually 5 completely new game modes in UFC 2. UFC Ultimate Team, live events, practice mode, knockout mode, and custom events. So the list is so long, I almost forget all of them every time I'm talking about this. But making sure that no matter what kind of fan you are, if you're like a hyper competitive online kind of guy, there's stuff in there for you. Or if you're more of a casual sort of sit down on the couch and play with your buddies, guys, there's stuff in there for you as well. Really important that we address make sure there's lots of breadth and depth, lots of experience for people to enjoy finishing the fight in UFC 2.
So one of the biggest new features we talked about were the new knockout physics and dynamic grappling. So can you just go into a little bit of depth about that and the changes that you made from last year?
Yeah, well, the new knockout physics, number one, is my personal favorite because I've been working on this game for over a year. And I'm still call people in my office when a cool knockout happens to show them what just happened. The knockouts this year are 100% procedurally driven, but they're not really cartoony and ragdolly like they have looked in fighting games in the past. And they're not motion captured canned animations, so they're not super repetitive. You see the stuff all the same, seems the same stuff all the time. In UFC 1, I think our in-game telemetry, there's been over 200 million knockouts scored in the game. There's no way we'd put that many unique animations on a disc. It wouldn't fit. The game would have to come with 4 discs probably or something like that. So with a procedurally driven system, every time you score a knockout, it believably follows the momentum of that strike and what the other fighter was doing when he got hit with it to create memorable, rewarding, dynamic knockouts and finishes to every single fight. So it's absolutely spectacular. The next big thing is that dynamic grappling system, which completely changes the way the ground game feels from any MMA UFC game in the past. Every game before this was been a really turn-based sort of system where you had to wait for your opponent to start doing something and then defend that if you wanted to do something else. For the first time ever, we have 2-player simultaneous interaction on the ground where we can both do offensive transitions at the same time, see who beats who based on our relative fighter attributes, stamina, etc. The fighting on the ground feels a lot more fluid and a lot more dynamic than it ever has before on any other game.
Awesome. So everybody remembers the games, the Fight Night games. We've seen some popularity recently in the WWE games. Are there any of these games that you consider direct competition, or any games that you've are driven by, or are taking things from and learning from?
Yeah, I mean, we try and learn from all kinds of games. Certainly, there's a long Fight Night lineage within the UFC team, myself and several other people that work on the game. So we have that wealth of knowledge from working on those games. But there's so many. We've done so much work on UFC 2 to make it a much richer, deeper, broader experience than UFC 1 from top to bottom. The gameplay has seen significant improvements with the grappling, the knockout physics. There's all those new game modes, and wrapping it all together is a much better sort of onboarding experience to make the game more accessible for every user. So, a lot of people found it, the complexity of virtual jiu-jitsu kind of challenging last year, and we've made some big steps forward with the grappling game, a grapple assist HUD, all kinds of things to make every facet of the game more accessible, easier to learn, easier to pick up and play, and then just tons of depth and excitement for you to enjoy when you get in there. So I really can only say the thing that's the single best thing is it's the total package. We've done so much from top to bottom in every avenue to make UFC 2 better than UFC 1. It's the total package. That's all I can say.